Hey guys, and welcome to Torres del Paine National Park. My name is Janine and I'm normally a wildlife photographer with pangolin photo safaris. But here I'm in an absolute landscape paradise. I've set myself a personal challenge. I'm completely out of my comfort zone and I want to invite you to come and join me on a day of landscape photography. Torres del Paine National Park is known for its spectacular mountain ranges, glaciers, as well as glacier lakes, and a beautifully laid out system of hiking trails and tracks. The park is easily accessible via road from Puerto Natales and also has a great road network throughout that can be explored within a day if you would want to push it. Most people visit it for hiking activities. However, it also has a vast biodiversity. Pumas are on the top of the list for many visitors. However, it is important to know that tracking pumas off the roads is not permitted and therefore one must get quite lucky to get a sighting, let alone a close one. Guts and I are here for one day only, as we couldn't pass by the opportunity of visiting the national park after a week of tracking pumas. Of course, as luck has it, this one dedicated day of landscape photography started off with a rainy morning. And I guess that's just that. Landscape photography cannot be pinned down onto one specific day when confronted with such volatile weather conditions. Nevertheless, we got onto the road to go explore. While I easily get distracted by the guanacos, as well as the beautiful bird life in the park, I need to remind myself to take proper time for the landscapes today. We're getting different views of the towers today, and we're lucky because it's relatively wind still today. Sometimes we even catch some reflections. In this case, I'm going to try and find something in the foreground, like these big rocks. I'm going to go nice and low. I'm also a big fan of shooting long exposures. For that, a big stopper is incredibly helpful. It'll soften out the laguna in front of the big mountains. If you enjoy our content, please don't forget to subscribe right here. Here we found an old piece of driftwood that I'm going to try and play with for a little bit on a high f-stop, or even do some focus stacking so I can get both my foreground and my background in focus. There is definitely no lack of subject in Torres del Paine, from vast lagunas that carry a deep glacier turquoise to beautiful rapids. And of course, these mountains. These massive mountain landscapes are sometimes difficult to capture. A panorama is one way of trying to get more detail in. A little trick I learned from Guts is to try and start the panorama by photographing your left foot first, so you know your panoramic scene is starting. Overlap your images by about 1/3 and end the scenery with a photograph of your right foot. So if you end up editing your pictures about 6 months later, you remember this was a panorama you wanted to stitch together, just like this. For this full day in the park, I decided to bring my 24-70mm f2.8 lens and borrowed my guide's tripod for long exposures. Given the vast landscape and beautiful road network throughout the park, one can always find different angles that allow for stunning shots without any other people in the picture. Just in case, I also brought my long lens with and couldn't believe it when we once again found a puma mother with 3 young cubs in the distance on a mountain ridge. After one full day in Torres del Paine National Park, I can conclude that one full day of shooting landscapes is not enough in this park.
Guts and I specifically came for puma tracking, but we couldn't miss this opportunity to see the landscape of the famous Torres del Paine. However, of course, as luck has it, this was the one single morning we had rain and therefore no sunrise. Weather conditions change every 2 hours here, and therefore you cannot plan it. And if landscapes are your main priority, you should spend quite a few days here. Regardless, I enjoyed it tremendously and had a lot of fun playing with landscapes today. And those mountainscapes simply give me goosebumps. Stay tuned to see my results right now.